Hello, this is John Sace, host of the bi-weekly podcast, Half-Truths and Whole Lies, and there's a whole lot of lies out there. Food. It has started wars, brought down empires, made men sail the ocean blue. People have searched for trade routes for spices. There have been arguments around the table. Should we add more salt or pepper? Maybe a little hot sauce. But it has created lots of controversy, and we are going to explore the idea of, is a hot dog a sandwich and is cereal a soup? A lot of learned people want to know. Culinary conspiracy. Is the hot dog a sandwich? Is cereal a soup? Let's start with the hot dog. Hot dog is very mysterious in that it is associated with baseball games like the Cubs, fireworks, 4th of July, and of course, heartburn, all kinds of stomach issues. Eat too many hot dogs and you're gonna toot up a storm. Toot, 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 it just won't stop. But anyway, that's one of its side effects. Most sandwiches aren't like that. Anyway, it's similar in many ways to a sandwich. It has meat, it has bread, and it can be held in your hand. However, a normal sandwich is made up of 2 slices of bread. It is not one piece of bread slit partially like a hot dog. That is not the same. Also, if you ask someone to go down to the local deli and get yourself some sandwiches, and they brought back a pack of hot Oscar Mayer hot dogs with ketchup, you'd look at them like they were nuts, going, what are you doing? Now, there are some people, like these prissy people at Harvard, that believe it's a foldable sandwich. Well, if it's a foldable sandwich, then a taco at Taco Bell is a sandwich also. And what do you think the Subway guys would think of that, calling a taco a sandwich? Also, Costco, sells hot dogs way cheaper than sandwiches. So does Sam's. $1.50 for a hot dog and a drink. What sandwich can you get for $1.50 with a drink? Not possible. Also, if you go to your local 7-Eleven or QT, there's these things on a roller grill. Do you see a sandwich on a roller grill rolling? No, you see taquitos and hot dogs. Taquitos are closer to a hot dog than any of this other stuff. So, no, a sandwich is not a hot dog. And a hot dog's its own mysterious food group, superfood group. It is amazing in so many ways. You can get it at every little street corner, anywhere, even in New York City. One of those weird little carts where they steam them or something. Get them fresh. But anyway, that's my take on a hot dog. It is not a sandwich. Now, let's move on to cereal. Basically, we're not talking about the cereals like oatmeal or cream of wheat. We're talking about that stuff that shakes when you get a box of it you buy at the store. Basically, when you add this breakfast cereal to milk, you've turned it into something that's not clear how it's supposed to be classified. If you look up soup in any good cookbook, it is defined as sort of a liquid-based dish that has solid ingredients like carrots, beef, ham bits, chicken, etc. Well, guess what? Cereal is also solid ingredients, and milk is a liquid. Some people would say, case closed, but we have a problem. And it's got to do with temperature. Temperature is what matters. Soup is basically hot. You know, you try to eat it on one of those frigid nights. Ooh, it's very good. Chicken soup, especially good. Cereal is typically cold. You don't want lukewarm cereal, milk, warm milk. No, that's something probably out of the Victorian age. So, basically, it seems like, well, then we've got it. It's cold versus hot. But no, the damn French and the Italians, I think. You know, vichyssoise is that weird cold soup that's served at some high-end places, as well as gazpacho. And they're both cold. Now, 90% of Americans don't really like those, so we'll just kind of rule those out. So, you know, basically, again, if cereal is a soup, you know, Cheerios then would be like, you know, the equivalent of those little oyster crackers floating around in your soup, which it's not that. It's just not. So here's one of the other big issues which does come up. Soup is typically savory, you know, meat-based, broth-based, and cereal is very sweet. Appeals to kids and almost anybody. Examples of many of these sweet puff cereals are Cocoa Puffs, Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs, Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs, Tricks of a kids, Count Chocula. So, now, basically, is cereal a soup? No. There's no way. It simply comes down to temperature is probably the defining factor here. And we're not going to get into those cold soups. That's some kind of, you know, prissy kind of thing again, kind of like foldable sandwiches. What the hell is that? No. So, why are we even debating this? I think because labels on things give us comfort. We try to define hot dogs, and they're undefinable. They're their own unique food group. And basically, cereal, breakfast cereal, is the same way. We try to define these things and put everything into place, and it just makes us feel good, and it feels like we got our act together. So, hot dogs, cereal, very unique. Well, just to toss one in, someone brought up, what the hell are Pop-Tarts? I have no clue what a Pop-Tart is. I couldn't classify it. Man, those things last forever. So anyway, my take, whether you like it or not, is hot dogs are its unique food group. They are not sandwiches. And, you know, cereal is not a soup. You know, that's the way it is, whether you like it or not. Please listen to my upcoming podcasts, which occur every 2 weeks. And remember, we look for the truths behind all of the lies.